Hey everybody, welcome to a behind-the-scenes recording of Geared Up.
What's up, everybody? Andrew Edwards here.
Todd Bishop. Hey, it's good to have you back here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been, I haven't seen you since the week before you got on stage with Reggie.
Yes,
the Reginator.
The Reginator, which we played. I believe that was available as a Geared Up podcast for people to listen to. I wasn't able to give Reggie to get Reggie to give me the inside dirt on like the next Nintendo game.
Were you intimidated?
Reggie's, I wouldn't say intimidated.
He's an imposing figure.
He's an imposing figure, and I was impressed. Let me say that. Reggie holds his own, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
I practiced his name about 30 times before we went on stage. Reggie Vid Summit.
Okay. So you didn't fumble that. That would
no,
have been great. That would have been great if you fumbled
after
it.
10 weeks of discussing the pronunciation of his name on Geared Up. So the GeekWire Summit went well. Everything's going well. You've been traveling?
Yes, I went to Vid Summit. Shout out to everybody out there that I saw.
Vid Summit.
Vid Summit is it's like an event conference for people who do video, whether it's YouTube or other video, for a living. So if you're a creator, like a content creator for a living, Vid Summit is a place to go. Different from VidCon, which is where like fans go to meet their favorite creators. Vid Summit is more just creators come together to kind of learn from each other.
Who's the most interesting person you saw at Vid Summit?
Okay,
we'll put you on the spot.
Interesting. The most interesting person, probably my boy Viper. Viper. He goes by Viper. I don't even know his actual name. I don't even know his name.
With a name like Viper, what else do you need?
Right. Well, he is. He calls himself. He calls himself many things, but he is the captain of Team Apple. He is the man about tech. Yeah, it was crazy. It was great. I mean, you see so many people there who you see online only most of the time. You see them in person. It's very cool.
Did you sign any signatures?
No, that's more of a VidCon thing.
Okay.
See, signatures more of a VidCon thing.
Because these are your peers.
Yeah, exactly. And at least that's how I see it. A lot of people do go to these things and they're like, "Oh, there's Gary Vaynerchuk. I gotta."
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just
Gary.
It's just Gary. It's just my boy G is over there. Don't worry about it. So
I think Claire's signaling.
Sorry,
on
Claire. I'm like hitting the table. I'm getting excited. Because we have a lot to talk about today.
We as always. I think that's my signature line.
Yes,
actually.
it is. Yes, it is.
It's baseball announcers have their home run calls. I have my boring setup for the show.
Same one.
We do have a lot to talk about today,
we do.
Including the new iPhone
XR,
which just dropped a bunch of reviews. A bunch of reviews for the iPhone XR dropped today. I'm going to be talking about what I think is one of the greatest inventions ever from Amazon.
I find this hard to believe.
Coming up.
Okay.
Yep, and I'll explain why I think that a smart plug is quite possibly one of the most, one of the greatest inventions I've ever come across.
Claire's laughing at us. Oh, Viper's here. Viper's here. What's up, Viper? And what's up, everybody else watching in the live chat?
So, in case you're wondering what the heck is going on, we are getting ready to record the audio podcast. You'll get a behind-the-scenes view of that. We'll talk about several of the week's gadget headlines, tech news, and then we'll take a break, and Andrew will answer all of your questions.
Right. So just to kind of reiterate, as we start the show hasn't started yet. We're going to do our podcast. We're going to take a break. Then we're going to address questions in the chat. So if you see people in the chat yelling at us about ignoring them, just be nice and let them know, hey, there's a reason. Of a show. They're going to get to your questions during the break.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
You feel my blood pressure rising?
Listen. Are you angry?
I don't like when people, they just ignore their viewers. No, we don't.
Usually I'm the one who gets angry.
You never get angry.
You only get angry around more.
Okay.
You need to hang around.
You're like Mr. Rogers.
I got to tell you,
that's how I see you.
I got to tell you, if we keep hitting the table, Claire's going to be the one who's angry.
Claire. I'm sorry, Claire.
I was doing it too.
I'll be calm.
Okay.
I got to calm down.
All right, ready?
We're going to start the show.
Okay. Welcome to Geared Up, brought to you by National Car Rental. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
All right, we have got iPhone news for you.
Yes, we do.
There is another new iPhone coming out this week, and we'll have the inside details based on the early reviews and Andrew's insights.
Yep.
Plus, my favorite gadget of the year so far.
I'm getting tired of you saying this already.
Amazon's new smart plug. I think it's amazing. I know it's basic, but that's one of the reasons I love it, and I'll explain why I love it.
I feel like there's going to be a twist here and that you really don't like it that much.
No, I actually do like it quite a bit. Plus, I got to experience firsthand a new augmented reality basketball viewing experience in Los Angeles this past week. So I'll be talking all about that.
Yes, and you're talking about like actual NBA experience, not like a basketball video game.
Exactly. An NBA viewing experience that the creators hope will become the way we all watch NBA, just as you have the shot tracker in golf with the trace of the golf ball, or the first down line in the NFL. They're hoping that this will become ubiquitous like that on other sports broadcasts.
Okay.
We'll talk about all that coming up. But first, Andrew, I got to tell you, I had an experience this past week where I attempted to use you to my advantage, to use my affiliation with you to my advantage.
Interesting.
I got stuck in Portland, Oregon at the Portland airport because I was flying back from Los Angeles to Seattle, and the fog was so thick that they diverted our flight at around 2 in the morning after it had been delayed going out of LAX. It was the nightmare at any rate. So after a bunch of different things, and I won't bore you with the details, I ended up needing to drive to Seattle. And I went up to the National Car Rental desk at the Portland International Airport, and they said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Bishop. I know you're a member of the Emerald Club, but we can't get you in. We just don't have any cars that we can allow to go from Portland to Seattle. We got to keep them all here because it's our corporate day." And I got to say, great customer service at National Car Rental. Huge fan. I love the Emerald Club.
Right.
And I said, did you know that I know Andrew Edwards? And Andrew hosts Technically Speaking on the nationalcar.com control center. You can also find it at nationalcar.com.
You just gave him the whole ad.
I gave him the whole ad. I was like, but like, I host the show with Andrew. And the guy said, "What?" I said, "No, seriously, nationalcar.com, the control center, Technically Speaking." Sorry, man. Anyway, it didn't work.
That reflects poorly on him for not knowing his own company's best. Oh, by the way, which was revealed to me, and I'm allowed to share this. Technically Speaking, resulted in the best ad campaign in the history of National Car Rental.
Whoa.
What's up? He should know that.
Yeah, I got to say, he was very nice about it, and he kind of laughed at me. He knew I was like somewhat doing it tongue-in-cheek, but I did want to see if he knew. And then when I went out after I went to Enterprise to get my car, unfortunately, but they're affiliated. They're affiliated. And I was able to actually use my Emerald Club membership.
There you go.
Through that. So at any rate, and
worked out.
All good. But he was extremely nice, and he walked over and he said, "Glad you found a car."
Nice.
Okay, hey, let's get into the tech news.
Okay, story number one is what?
Story number one is the new iPhone 10.
I like how you keep pointing at me.
I struggle with the iPhone
You said the
names.
hard part, though. You said 10.
Okay, Andrew, I think that people out there are having a hard time keeping track of which iPhone is which. That's my theory.
Okay.
Set the context for us. Give us the Cliff's Notes on what iPhone this is.
Before I do that, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What?
Am I going to buy it? No.
No. What leads you to believe that there was a confusion? I'm just curious if it's like you've seen it or if it's just more of an assumption
I will tell
or a
you
feeling.
exactly. It's my market research of one. I am confused, and so I assume everyone else is.
Okay, because you're confused. Everyone's confused. All right. iPhone 10R reviews started dropping today. It is the third iPhone configuration available this year. So Apple this year released 3 new iPhones, and all 3 of them are genuinely new: 10s, 10s Max, and the 10R. The 10s is similar to last year's 10, just a little bit better internals. The 10s Max is the first time that we've got a 6.5-inch phone. Other than that, it's the exact same as the 10s, just bigger battery and bigger screen. And then the 10R comes in at the middle. It's actually 6.1 inches, so it's bigger than the 10s, and it's smaller than the 10s Max. But it's $750. I'm sorry. Yeah, $750, which makes it $250 cheaper than the entry-level iPhone 10. For $50 more, so at $800, you can get it for 128 gigs. So it starts at 64, bump it up to 128. And then for $100 more, at $900, you can get 256 gigs. So even at the top end, the iPhone 10R is still less than the 64 gig iPhone 10s.
Okay.
So it's the cheapest entry-level iPhone.
It sounds like the one to buy.
It's the one to I think so too. And so here's the thing. If you're into tech, if you're like a tech connoisseur or a tech fan, probably the people who watch the live stream. If you're that kind of person, a lot of people out there have been giving, without seeing it, the iPhone XR a lot of grief because it has a lower resolution display. It's an LCD instead of an OLED. It's basically it has one camera instead of two. So they're saying it's less than, but it is less than. That's why it costs less than the iPhone XS. But people are thinking, well, if it has a lower resolution display, then the display is going to look bad. All the reviews started dropping today, and all of them are saying how great the display is. So it's an LCD display just like the iPhone 8. But Apple actually did some extra work anti-aliasing around the sides to get the curved corners. It's the first time we've ever seen an LCD display with no forehead or chin, just a nice thin bezel all around it. Apple put some extra work in here. And one person, one of the best reviewers, video reviewers that I know, Sam Sheffer, he got his hands on it, and he said, the iPhone XR display is razor sharp. That was his quote. It's razor sharp. So you're not going to look at it and be like, oh, this display is so bad. You're not going to even notice it.
But I know that one difference between this device and the higher-end devices is the fact that there's no 3D touch. Is that right?
That's correct. One of the differences is there's no 3D touch because there's so little bezel on this display that they just couldn't fit that in. So they have something that they're calling Haptic Touch, which is a compromise. So Haptic Touch is you long press on something and you'll feel the internal thing like push. But it was really just a long press and it wasn't a push.
Press. Yeah.
The problem there is that in places where you would 3D touch, if there's already a long press there as well. So for example, on the home screen, you can 3D touch on icons to get a menu, or you can long press to like delete them and stuff. You can't do haptic touch there because you're always just going to have the long press result, not the 3D touch result. So it's a little bit of a compromise there. I use 3D touch quite a bit myself, so I would miss it. But I would assume most average people don't use 3D touch all that often.
I use it in some cases, but frankly, more often than not, it ends up throwing me off. Like I'll accidentally do it when I didn't mean to do it. I'll do a long press or a deep press. Actually, is what happens.
Yes.
It's pressing deeper into the screen, and it activates something that I didn't mean to activate in some app that I haven't used before.
Right, and then you just run away from it.
Yes.
Like I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think most people are in the same boat. So unless you really know what 3D touch is and where to use it, you're probably not going to miss it that much. It has one camera instead of two. It has the same main camera as the iPhone XS.
But that means it has both front-facing and back-facing, but only one rear-facing.
Correct. Yes, yes. So it has the same front-facing and the same main rear-facing camera as the XS. It doesn't have the second rear-facing telephoto lens. So what's interesting is it does have the ability to do the portrait mode. Have you used portrait mode?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
it can do that.
How?
It's using one camera lens similar to the Pixel 3, actually. Pixel 3, best portrait mode probably. It also only has one camera on it. It's using computational photography. So it's figuring out things using, processing rather than actual, optics. But since it only has one camera, there's some pluses and minuses. The plus is that you can actually take a portrait mode photo without having to zoom in. So it's using the main camera so the person can look, a lot of times portrait mode is like it's cropped in and you don't really get much background. But with this, it doesn't have the zoom. So it's doing portrait mode with the main lens, which gives you a different look to your photos. Because it's using the main camera lens, or the one main camera lens that it has, it lets in more light than the other one. So the portrait photos on the XR are more brightly lit than the ones on the XS.
Huh. Okay, very interesting. And for people who might not know this, the portrait mode, the signature is you've got the blurry background.
Yeah.
And it makes it look like a professional shot where they've really tuned the aperture manually, except it's automatic on the phone. That's interesting.
Now, there's a downside, though.
Yeah, what is the downside?
So that's the upside. The downside is that since it doesn't have the two lenses, Apple has to, again, use, software to determine where the face is. With the XS, portrait mode works on pretty much anything. You could have like a cup of coffee here and do a portrait mode. With the XR, it has to see a face.
Got it.
It has to know, okay, there's where the face is, and now we know how to process this image. So you can't take portrait mode photos of anything but a human face.
Quick sidebar here. I got to tell you, we got our daughter a point and shoot camera.
Okay.
She's 7 years old and she's not yet ready for her own phone.
Sure.
But she's of course played with our phone, and she and her friends like to do videos, unboxing videos.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they're aspiring YouTubers. I've told her about you and said, if someday if you play your cards right, you can do what this guy's doing.
Right.
Play with gadgets and get paid for it.
Right.
She took the point and shoot and she said to me, "Okay, yeah, where's the camera pointing at me?"
Oh, she wanted a selfie camera.
She wanted the selfie cam.
That's hilarious. I mean, that's this day and age, right?
That's exactly. It felt like, you wouldn't have asked that 5 years ago. At any rate, so the iPhone XR has both front and rear-facing cameras, but only one rear-facing camera, whereas the iPhone XS has the dual cameras that give you the traditional portrait mode.
Correct. So it's just different. It's just different. So, some people might see one as more beneficial than the other.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, though, I think at the end of the day, by the way, the other main feature, the XR is the phone with the best battery life in the history of iPhones.
And that equates to what?
By 90 minutes more than the iPhone 8 Plus.
So that means you can carry it around for how many days?
Well, I don't know about days, but it's definitely like an all-day, like morning till night and then some phone, which, I mean, battery life, that's one of the things that, for me at least, it's not something you really think about when you're buying a phone. But when you're in a situation, you start seeing your battery dwindle down, your heart starts like pumping a little bit, your palms get a little sweaty, you see it turn red, you hit 20%. Oh no, what am I going to do? So having a phone like that with a great battery, one of the best the best battery in the history of iPhone, better than the XS Max, which is a bigger phone, bigger battery in there, because it's not pushing as many pixels, it's more efficient. So if you're on the fence about which phone to buy, and you don't want to spend $1,000, the iPhone XR is not, I don't feel it's a compromise. It's just different. Which is more important to you? Do you want the more luxurious features, which are the second camera, stainless steel, higher resolution display, everything else being the same, second camera? Or do you want what I would consider to be less of a budget device, because it's still $750. It's just more of the entry level. They're both the iPhone X. They're both this year's iPhone X. Just which side do you fall on?
To me, it sounds like what you're saying is the iPhone XR is mainstream. I mean,
that is the mainstream device. Yeah, I think so.
And I'm seeing some reports that analysts think this one's going to be a home run, like the iPhone XR.
Yeah, I think it is, because again, the average person on the street is not.
Doesn't matter.
What's the resolution? How many times have you ever heard just the average person? Does your wife go into Verizon and say, "What's the resolution on this phone?"
No, but I will tell you what my wife does say is, "I want the home button. I don't want that dang full screen with the what are you doing flicking your thumb up like that? Give me a button."
I forced my wife this year. I said, "You're not getting a button anymore. You're done."
And what'd she say?
I took her phone. I was like, "This is your phone."
And how long did it take her to get used to the new?
Like 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days. But also, she dropped and cracked her phone on day one. Is that because there was no home button there?
Probably. Is that what was said?
She didn't say that, but I mean, geez. Day one.
Okay, so just to clarify, what we're talking about here is the iPhone XR. That starts at $749. It's available later
Friday morning
this week.
Yes,
Friday morning of this week, and the iPhone XS starts at $1,000, and the iPhone XS Max is about $1,099 starting, and that's the big screen one. So there's the landscape, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do, which one people go for during the holidays. But there's more to come, right? Because Apple has an event coming up.
Apple has an event on October 30th. They're going to be announcing the new iPad Pros, which should have the same bezel-less look as the iPhone X has. So basically, just imagine a large iPhone X. No bezels, no notch either, because it's a larger tablet. They can fit everything they need to without putting a notch on there. October 30th, for the first time ever, Apple's doing an event out of New York City, Brooklyn. And there was some controversy, by the way. OnePlus, the OnePlus 6T is going to be the first probably mainstream-ish phone with an in-display fingerprint reader. So the fingerprint reader will be in the display itself rather than in a home button, which is cool. But they announced their event for October 30th a few weeks ago. Then Apple announces their October 30th event, both in New York. Apple's event starts an hour later than OnePlus.
Oh, boy.
And OnePlus, who has been so, if you watch their keynotes, they're always attacking Apple. Our notch is smaller than theirs. You still have a notch. You still put a notch on your phone. You still copied their design. Like, we still have a headphone jack. Headphone jacks are not rocket science, they said, right? This year, they're removing the headphone jack. They have a bigger notch, and they bowed down to Apple by moving their event to the day before. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Well,
Apple's not even announcing phones. This is iPads and Macs.
Yeah.
But OnePlus said, you know what, we can't compete. They try to, the past few years, they boast about how much better and how competitive they are with Apple. But at the end of the day,
well,
you bow down.
Well, the thing.
Hey, that's what they did.
Apple
didn't move theirs.
Every once in a while, Andrew, I'm reminded that you used to be a professional wrestler. At the end of the day, you bow down.
That's right. That's what happened.
Well, I got to say, they're not just competing OnePlus here for the attention of consumers. They got to get the right media.
Of course.
And that's the
issue,
right? Of
course. Right. But if you want to get media there, again, Apple didn't say, OnePlus, we have to get media to Apple knows we have a product that press wants to see, right? So OnePlus, where are you at with making that happen? I'm just saying, and I'm not hating on them. I think they make good products, and they make good products that are very well priced. Like, you can get a OnePlus 6 today for about half the price of like a flagship Samsung phone and get like 98% of the features. So OnePlus phones are great. I just like to call out the hypocrisy when you try to say, for example, headphone jacks aren't rocket science a year ago, and then this year it's gone.
Right.
What are you doing?
Okay. Well, so that is a great rundown of everything on the smartphone front.
That's right.
Anything else in that realm that we want to talk about?
No. A week from now, Apple will be announcing, like I said, the new iPads and new Macs, and that's going to be the next big thing. That's going to be Apple's last hurrah leading into the holidays.
That's great. So we'll talk about that on future episodes of the show. Coming up, though, a device that I've been using in my house that I really has changed my life for the mere price of $25.
Wow.
That'll be coming up next on Geared Up. You're listening to Cairo Radio 97.3 FM. You're listening to GeekWire on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
All right. Let's see how the
Live
chat's
stream.
going. Wow, the chat is active today.
Nice.
Look at this. Okay. Hey, everybody said hi to Viper. Viper's in here. Okay. I'm thinking of upgrading from a 7 to a 10R. I think upgrading from a 7 to a 10R is a very practical decision. You're not going to go wrong. That's right. I mean, I feel like ultimately you get a 10R, you're going to love your phone. I've been trying to tell people to hush about the 10R display, so have I. Someone went from a 6S to a 10S, happy. S year. The thing with an S year, people always say it's just an S year. Oh, it's just an S year. For
it's
me,
like the midterm elections versus the presidential.
Well, I mean, this is how I see it. And you tell me if you disagree. An S year means you're getting Apple's best hardware design with Apple's best internals. When you're not on an S year, you're getting their new hardware with internals that are not going to be as great for the same design. Yes. So the S year is like it's our best design, but we've perfected it.
Yeah.
Why is that bad?
Yeah.
Why? Oh, it's just an S year. Yeah, you're getting a better phone.
Yeah. It's like when they used to say it's like Windows XP, SP2. That was the best. that was a fine year.
Oh yeah, I do remember. Everybody, do you have SP2?
You got SP2?
It's like 15 years ago.
I know.
Oh my God. Now we're old.
Yeah.
El Jefe Reviews. Hello. I saw him at Vid Summit as well. Andrew, still waiting on that collaboration with you and Erica. Go for it. Erica Griffin is another local. You know her?
Yeah, we've talked about her.
Oh yeah, we should have her on this show.
Yeah, you should.
She is like one of the most in-depth camera reviewers. Okay. Battery case. You're not going to need a battery case for any 10S, 10S Max, or 10R. In fact, I don't even think Apple's making battery cases for these because the batteries are so great. Someone said my wife cracked her phone on purpose just to get, and I wouldn't even put that past her. Okay, anything else? Someone said so much for impartial reviews.
Impartial reviews?
Yeah, he's saying I'm being biased.
Against?
I'm assuming towards Apple because I just said something about OnePlus. OnePlus did everything I said they did. OnePlus did say the headphone jack is not rocket science and then removed it a year later. They did that. That happened.
Yeah.
They did on stage show a slide comparing the size of their notch. Look, our notch is
you shouldn't be passionate about the fact that it was hypocritical?
Can't be passionate about tech.
No, maybe that's not it. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'd be curious to hear more.
Hey,
about
LFC Mark EB, give more information about that comment.
Yeah, we'd like to. It's because I think it's a good one to explore.
I wonder if he's talking about the Insignia Voice that was on sale last week for $25. That is not what he's talking about. We're about to talk about it, though, right now. What's your opinion on Apple? That's a very vague question. What's your opinion on Apple's products? That's the.
I'll tell you Andrew's opinion on Apple products. They are the second coming. I
Listen.
remember my favorite comment that Andrew ever made was we were talking about. I said, yeah, I like Apple stuff, but you're kind of locked into their ecosystem. And Andrew said, yeah, locked into greatness.
Hey, I live and die by the ecosystem. But that doesn't mean I don't like other phones. Like this right here, Pixel 3 XL, really good. There's a couple of issues with it, but really good phone
overall. Are we talking
overall.
about that today?
I think so. I think we might have been supposed to be talking about that in the first segment. I don't even remember.
Okay.
Claire, you have to instruct me because I don't know.
Should we get back to that later? Or
Yes, this is live, Nike.
This is live.
That evil versus good guy Andrew video was hilarious. Thank you. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
I did an iPhone 10s unboxing, but it was.
Oh, there it is.
It went back and forth between an Android fanboy and Apple sheep.
This is great.
It was pretty good.
How did I miss this?
There's a lot of good feedback there. What color am I
thumbnail.
getting? I actually ordered the red, the coral, the blue, and the yellow. So just not the black and the white. 'Cause you got to match your phone with your shirt and shoes sometimes. So.
Actually, the thumbnail I liked that you did was the Honeywell smart home security one.
Oh yeah,
the Bandit one.
I've been trying to switch up my thumbnails a little bit and make them a little more enticing.
You've been going to the costume shop.
No, I just superimposed that on my face.
Oh,
I wasn't even wearing anything. I wasn't even wearing a hat. I just superimposed that on
That's
there.
pretty good. That's good Photoshop. Okay.
Thank you. All right, here we go.
Ready?
We're going to go into segment number 2, talking about Todd's greatest consumer electronics device of all time, apparently.
Did I say all time? I think I said
You said
of the
ever.
year.
No, you said ever.
Okay. That's hyperbole, I think. Are we ready on National Car and everything? Okay. All right.
Where is it, by the way? That's the old one.
No, it's the same.
That's not the one.
I don't think they changed anything
Of that.
No, I mean, there was a different paper than this.
This is scintillating.
All right. None of you guys care. All right, we'll just
we got
roll
this.
with it.
Oh, you know what? You're right. There
See?
was.
Yeah, different paper. This is
I've
not the
got
right
it
paper.
written here, though.
I can't read that.
Okay. All right.
We'll try.
Welcome back to Geared Up. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
It is time for the National Car Rental Story of the Week.
Yes, it is.
We'll get to that in just a second. But first, Andrew, you have a great show called Technically Speaking.
Yes, I do. I just recorded a bunch of them last week, actually. That's why we didn't have it geared up. I recorded 7 episodes. No, 9. 9 episodes of Technically Speaking. That's my show where I tell you about the best tech gear to take with you when you're traveling, whether it's business travel, personal travel. Gadgets can make it more convenient or more fun. So I picked the best, and I share that on Technically Speaking.
That's right. You can find that at youtube.com/nationalcarrent. Also at the nationalcar.com control center. And really, everybody should know this show, including people who work at National
Yes,
Car
they should.
at the Portland airport.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
Next time you see the folks at the Portland airport, you should say, hey, you guys sponsor a great show called Geared Up.
I'll just pull up their website and hit play.
Yeah, Andrew has a great show called Technically Speaking on the nationalcar.com control center. You should check it out.
Right. I shouldn't say Andrew has. That would be weird.
Yeah.
We're just talking in the third person.
I'm talking to the viewers out there. The viewers and the listeners
You,
out
if
there.
you're out there, yes, do that.
All right. The latest tech puts you in the driver's seat. National Car Rentals Emerald Club will keep you there.
That's right.
That's right. From memory on that one.
Good
That was
job.
Pretty good.
Good job.
All right. This
Now.
week's National Car Rental Story of the Week.
What is it?
It is the new Amazon Smart Plug.
Is that the name of the product?
It is, yes.
Just Amazon, the most exciting name I've ever heard. Amazon Smart Plug.
That's right. This is a new device. It was part of the wave of devices that Amazon announced a few weeks ago.
Okay.
That included things that caught a bunch of people's attention, like the microwave.
The Alexa microwave, yes. The big digital clock.
Yeah.
A bunch of new stuff.
A bunch of new stuff, but to me, the most interesting thing was the Smart Plug. It's $25. It is the first-party Smart Plug for Alexa. In other words, there's lots of smart plugs out there that work with Alexa.
Right.
but they are from other manufacturers,
Correct.
not from Amazon. This is the first time Amazon itself has come out with its own smart plug. And the difference...
That's the question I had for you.
Yes.
There's so many smart plugs already. Why
Right.
is it so exciting?
Oh, my gosh. The difference is incredible. And the difference is primarily in the setup. And the reason I'm so passionate about this topic, and
I
I
still
can
feel
tell
like
you're
you're
laughing,
trolling me. I feel like you're
I'm not-
just, I don't know why. It's like
Andrew, how many times have you tried to set up a smart plug
Many.
from a third-party manufacturer? Can you describe the process for me?
usually the process is you plug in the smart plug, you go to your phone, you join a Wi-Fi network that the plug has created, and then you give it the password to your real Wi-Fi so it could jump on that.
This is true. You're
And then
skipping
you-
a few steps
And then
here.
you download the app. But sometimes there is a QR code that you can just
Yes.
scan on the device, and then that'll like expedite setup. And then once you have it all set up, then you use the app or Alexa or Google Assistant or Siri to then control whatever's plugged into it. Did I
Yes.
miss a step?
Yeah, well, you missed the part where you forget your password for the third-party app. You got to reset it. You know, like there's so many different places where it can go wrong. I
Do
have
you not
spent,
use iCloud Keychain?
okay, well, there's a good tip. But you know, there are times when I've spent probably up to an hour trying to set up a smart plug. Do you know what happened the first time I plugged in my Amazon smart plug?
No.
I plugged it in
Okay. Into the wall.
into the wall.
Okay, you took it out of the box, plugged it in the wall.
and I got an alert on my phone
What?
that said, "New plug found." To control it,
Immediately?
say, "Alexa, turn on first plug." And do you know how they did it?
No.
I use Amazon's Wi-Fi password save. So in other words, I save my Wi-Fi password in the cloud with Amazon.
Did
Now,
your wife know this?
she does not.
I didn't
Please-
think she did.
Please don't tell her. I think that the risk, such as it is worth it because I had to do literally no setup except for going in and changing the name of the plug to what I wanted it to be.
Okay.
And the
So you
thing-
said the phrase that I told you to say, and that was it. Setup is done.
yeah,
That's
well,
it. Wow.
well, really, actually, I really had to do nothing. If you wanted to leave it as the phrase, it was set up as first plug. If you wanted to leave it as the phrase, you were done. You plug it in and you're done. To me, that is
Wow.
the beauty of it. That is exactly how consumer electronics should work. And the fact that it was so astonishing, literally plug and play,
I got you.
as opposed to the past when it was plug and pray. Ah, was that a dad joke?
Drop a comment in the. Drop a comment in.
On Todd's sense of
If you
humor.
have a better dad
You
joke
should see-
than that.
You should see the feedback in the surveys after our events. Just like I think one of them was just stop trying. It's funny. At any rate, seriously, you plug this thing in, it works, you move on. To me, that is the way everything should work. And the reason, I've tried to, because to me the plugs are sort of the basic entry point for the smart home.
Okay.
And I've gotten them for my family that's had Alexa. You know, hey, not only can you ask Alexa cool things, but you can control the light over there. You know, it's
Right,
kind of a
right.
cool little Christmas thing for people who aren't really familiar with these
Sure.
things. But I, like last Christmas, trying to set up my mom and dad's lights, and finally I think my dad walked over and went, "You know what?" And he turned the switch on and off and said, "I think this is better."
Oh,
You know, it's like that kind
terrible.
of thing. You know, I'm probably exaggerating
Terrible.
there, but it was we came to the realization that the good old fashioned light switch was a better solution than this thing that took me an hour
Right.
to set up.
If you're doing one light at a time, I mean, if you're trying to do multiple lights or set a scene,
True,
smart home stuff is the way to go.
exactly. So that is the Alexa. I'm sorry, that is the Amazon smart plug that
Right.
works with Alexa. The last time I checked, it was actually sold out. I mean, this is obviously gonna be
$25.
$25, yeah.
Now, you're excited about the setup process, which obviously saves a lot of headache and frustration, right?
Yes.
But once you're set up, correct me if I'm wrong, now it's just like any other smart plug that's set up properly, right?
Basically, I will say that the design is especially nice. I know it's not alone in this regard, but it has a very nice horizontal design, such that it doesn't block the plug
Okay.
above or next to it in the power strip or in your outlet. So that to me, they took all the things that are painful about these devices and tried to solve them.
That's nice. Someone said you could have just got the clapper.
Oh my God. I hate the clapper. I hate the clapper. And the problem is the clapper tried to get too fancy.
Did they?
Back when it was just, one clap or two claps and you had one light. But, they added the whole thing, and we have a clapper.
What do they do? You have a clapper?
Yes. Yes.
What?
So the issue is that they've added a thing where if you clap multiple times, it will turn a different switch off. It's
no.
Yeah, it's like the multi-pronged clapper, like way too complex.
You got to do SOS. What is that called?
Yeah, I don't know. But
when they think SOS, what is that called? Morse code.
Yes.
You have to do Morse code by clapping.
Basically.
Terrible. Terrible. That's not good. I thought they stopped selling that in like 1986.
Oh, no,
I didn't realize.
You asked about my wife earlier. Like she loves the clapper. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go with it. No.
Wow.
I think I might have, when we moved recently, I think I might have accidentally lost the clapper.
Nice. She would not be happy that Amazon has your Wi-Fi. I'm just saying.
Sorry, not sorry. All right. So that is the Amazon Smart Plug. It costs $25. It works with Alexa, and it actually is in stock now. So they've gotten that up to speed. And that is the National Car Rental Story of the Week.
Nice. I have a feeling that is going to make a reappearance in a few weeks on our annual holiday gift guide show.
Oh, my gosh. Stocking stuffer written all over it.
There you go. Foreshadowing.
All right. We will be right back with a glimpse of the future of NBA sports broadcasts and augmented reality. That's coming up next on Geared Up. You're listening to Cairo Radio. You're listening to GeekWire on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM. Yeah. We'll also be talking about the latest from Google, the new Pixel 3 smartphone. That's coming up on Geared Up. You're listening to GeekWire on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM. Sorry, it was a reflex.
Someone said, does your wife not watch the show? Neither of our wives watch the show, quite honestly. My wife only watches if she gets the alert that it's live. If she misses it live, she's like, I'm not watching it. Not worth it.
If you lived with us, would you be going for more?
Right. I give her more than enough. All right. Wait, what? Oh, geez. Now I'm going to have to, okay.
You better hope she doesn't watch.
That's not what he meant.
The 10R seems to be near premium price for near mid-spec device when you look at a OnePlus and Huawei devices. All right, so here's the thing, which I did not say earlier and which I probably should have said. I mean, I did say it's similar in almost every way but these. So the chip inside the A12 chip is in both 3 gigs of RAM. Like it's the iPhone 10R is one of the 3 equally fastest phones in the world. The iPhone XS beats every phone, any phone you can think of on the planet. And the 10R does the same because it has the same chip. So when you say it has mid-level specs, it destroys any phone from Huawei or OnePlus or even Samsung when you start looking at how fast it can do things. It's the fastest phone out there. So that is not a mid-level spec. That is the highest spec you can get. The main chip that runs the phone is the fastest mobile chip in the world. So that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that performance. Could always get the clapper. We already talked about that. Is this your normal day and time for YouTube? Yeah, pretty much. We pretty much do Tuesdays around noon Pacific time. So I'm not sure where you're located, but noon Pacific time. This is generally our same live stream for recording Geared Up. I think that's it.
Okay. All right. You want to talk Pixel?
Talk a little bit of Pixel, and then, we'll do the other thing.
Okay.
I have not gotten my hand on a Razer Phone 2 yet.
Okay. Welcome back to Geared Up. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
So you got another phone in your hands
Boom.
here.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about this one.
This is the Google Pixel 3 XL. I really like the feel of this phone. I'm a fan of it. I do have a couple complaints, but I wanted to show you one thing real quick. If you look at this phone, you notice that that's called the chin down there, right? So what I was saying earlier about the 10R is it's the first LCD display that doesn't have this, everything is even around the 10R.
Right.
It doesn't have this extra chin because I don't know, to me, I don't make devices, obviously, but to me, it's like if you're a competitor of Apple, you buy the XS, you open it up, and you see how did they do that. But no one yet has been able to replicate that even bezel around the side on an LCD. So it's just
as opposed to an OLED.
Right. This is an OLED phone, but the reason this is here is because they have these insane front-facing speakers on there, so they had to make space for these speakers. So the speakers on the Pixel 3 XL both face you, rather than like on the iPhone where one is down here and one is up here. These both face you, so it's a better sound experience.
So would you
take a look.
Yeah. Would you end up using those speakers for music or for video?
Music, like they're so good that you wouldn't need a Bluetooth speaker. You could just play the music from your phone. So that means, you know, those small Bluetooth speakers, they're not the best sounding in the world, but this will at least replicate that. The notch on top. What do you think of notches, by the way, these days? Does it bother you?
No, not anymore.
People get mad.
It looks more pronounced, though, than the one, at least on my iPhone 10.
It's interesting because the notch on that is deeper, but not as wide. So if you see here, see what I mean?
Yeah,
so it might even be
exactly.
the same
Right.
volume of notch. But the reason is they have these two cameras in there, and that might even come across as an excuse because the smaller Pixel 3 has the exact same cameras, front and back, and does not have a notch.
Don't worry, I'm just posting something to your Instagram.
Oh, that's
Don't
fine.
worry about it.
That's fine. So the thing with the Pixel 3, a lot of people were making comments about how Google never said the word Android when they announced
not
it.
one
time.
Not once, yeah.
Now, and I think, you know, this is just me thinking, you know, out loud. I don't think Google sees this as an Android phone. And when I say that, I don't mean they're ashamed of Android. But when you say Android phone, you think of a sea of phones, right? This guy's playing a song.
Yeah.
A sea of phones. There's like hundreds of Android phones. They don't want to be one of many.
Right.
Pixel has a specific meaning to Google. Pixel is hardware, Android, machine learning, and AI. That's what Pixel is. And so to just say Android phone kind of misses the point of what Pixel is.
Wouldn't they say that it runs Android?
Well, they could say that, but I guess my point is more the complete package is what they're selling, not Android.
Okay.
Because there's so many choices on Android, but there's only one Pixel. Like this phone, did you see the feature where it can answer your phone calls for you?
No.
So if you get a phone call, you can have the device pick up the phone, and you see in real time the conversation, and then you can tap on responses that you wanted to ask before you. So it'll be like, hey, I'm so-and-so calling from, you know, whatever. And you can say, is this urgent or more information? And then you can get to a point where you ask them to leave a message or you pick up the phone.
And does it do it in your voice?
No, it doesn't do it in your voice, but
No.
it tells them something like, hey, this is, you know, the person you're calling uses Google to screen their calls.
How about Patrick? Could it do it as Patrick Stewart? That's what I want.
Man, I think Google has actually played with that with in one other area. I think their GPS. They started letting you put like celebrities in there, so that would be cool. But
Hello.
right,
Andrew
exactly.
can't make it. I can't do it.
But that's cool, though.
But that would be great. Yeah.
Like I wish that the iPhone did that.
Yeah.
Because you're live screening your call. You can see in real time what people are saying.
What version of Android does this run?
It runs Android Pie,
Pie,
which is the latest one.
Okay.
So yeah, Android Pie.
I've been, I have not used Android Pie, but I got to say, I'm using it here and very intuitive.
Yeah,
Immediately
so
I was able
very,
to get it.
You know, people are going to say I'm being biased again, but it's very iOS 12-like, right? Like
Yes.
the reason you're
Yes.
able to just pick up, he's not a Pixel user, not an Android user, you're able to pick it up and just start using it because the gestures are similar
In fact,
to what iOS has.
looking at this, I love how it brings up the tray and then allows you to go to the apps.
Yes.
Underneath.
And that's
which is,
nice.
That's an Android
Yes.
staple, and actually they've moved that into the Chrome OS as well. That
Yeah.
ability to swipe up.
called the app shelf. So you can have your home screens
Yeah.
however you want them to be, and all your apps are in the shelf away instead of just having an endless grid of apps. That is a solid Android feature.
I'm pretty sure that feature was innovated by Windows 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
So that would be the only
pretty
thing
sure-
Windows 8 innovated then.
Hey, if that's your opinion, by the way, I just talked to Terry Myerson, the former Windows chief, this past week, the guy who was responsible for Windows 10. He's moved on. I don't know. If you know
Okay, he
that. Anyway,
left.
that's a whole other story.
That's all you wanted to say?
He's gone on. He's now
You gonna say
working
anything
for
interesting?
the Carlyle Group and for Madrona Venture Group. He's basically being an advisor to venture capitalists, looking for the next big thing.
Got you.
So,
Got you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my one complaint with this phone. Again, big fan of Pixel, big fan of Android like this. The camera, Android's camera, by the way, or the Pixel's camera, fantastic.
Yeah.
Best camera out there.
Yep.
When you're using the camera app. If you are the average consumer, not again, if you're watching this live stream, you're probably not the average consumer. If you're the average consumer, you buy your phone. How many people do you know who just live in Facebook or Instagram or Twitter? They live there. They buy their phone to do email, text messaging, and social media. That's what their phone is for. I was testing this phone on Instagram. I was doing Instagram stories, taking pictures, taking videos, and I had both phones with me. This is the XS Max. I was out at they had this thing in Seattle where they were like projecting video onto a building.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. I was there. I'm going back and forth on Instagram with these two phones. And people started responding to me, why is the Pixel so terrible? Why does it look so bad?
Right.
And then they started saying, because then I started talking, and like, why is the audio so terrible on your Pixel? What's going on? And obviously I was shooting the video, so I couldn't hear what they were hearing.
Right.
And I went home and I started looking into it. And lo and behold, the stereo speakers, the stereo recording on the iPhone, and now recording stereo, sounded great. The Pixel sounded so bad and looked terrible. And I thought it was defective. And then I opened the camera app, took some video, took some pictures. Like, this looks great. This is still the best camera. I don't understand what's going on. It turns out, if you're a developer making a third-party app, you don't just get direct access to the camera. Like, you don't get the full camera experience. There's a Pixel Visual Core chip in there, which again, the most average consumers shouldn't even have to look into or know about. But Google's using software to optimize their pictures and videos to make them look as great as they do. And third-party developers can't just tap into that. Whereas on the iPhone, if you open the camera, you're just it's just the camera. There's no, if you're a developer, you get this area of the camera, and if you're a first party, we get that area of the camera. And this isn't even an Android thing, because the issue is not, I didn't see it on like the Note 9, for example. Samsung phones don't have this. So it's not an Android versus iOS thing. It's a Pixel thing. Google is so good at making images and videos look great on this phone using their in-house software that third parties aren't able to use. And sometimes it's so bad that, in fact, when you take a picture in some third-party apps, it's not even taking a picture of the camera. It's taking a screen grab of what's on the screen.
So that sounds like a basic API software development kit
but again,
policy issue.
When you say that, my eyes start to glaze over, because I'm just like, I just bought a phone that I just want to use. I just want to go on Instagram or Facebook and just use it.
Well, you're kind of like
you're
me
talking about SDKs, and I'm like, what?
Well, I mean, but you're like me talking about plugging in a plug.
That's true.
Yeah, that's very similar. You just want it to work. You don't want to know any of the details.
Right,
behind it.
right. So, that's my main complaint with the Pixel. If you're Pixel fan.
So this costs?
The Pixel, what does it start as? I don't even remember.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
It's available now.
It's available now. There's a Pixel 3, there's a Pixel 3 XL. But yeah, the microphone on there, not good. Some people have found that there's a constant hiss when they open the microphone.
The XL starts at it looks like it starts at 1,000. Why don't you look this up while we're
$1,000. I'd rather get a 10R.
Really?
I'd rather get a 10R.
Okay. All right.
When it comes to video. Pictures, still pictures. Pixel's number one.
Okay. Let me tell you about an experience I had this past week. I went to the Los Angeles Clippers basketball game.
Yes.
And they unveiled, and Steve Ballmer, the former Microsoft CEO, is now the owner of the Clippers. He's working with a company called Second Spectrum that's based in L.A., just a few blocks from Staples Center. And they unveiled a new experience called Court Vision, Clippers Court Vision. The idea is that the screen, as you're watching the game, from the video feed from the arena, not like holding it up, but actually from the video video feed from the arena, it actually is augmented with different annotations, stats, animations in near real time. So there's about a 2-minute delay currently. And just for purposes of comparison, if you're watching an NBA game at home, typically there is a delay in the broadcast that can be as much as up to 30 seconds from actual live action on the court. The delay for the processing to take place is essentially 2 minutes, but they're trying to shrink it down to less. And it, for me, was fascinating because it's the next step in the evolution of things like the first down marker on the TV screen, the yellow line across the screen. which if you took that away, people would be screaming, right?
Right. And it's just normal now. You just
Exactly.
You don't even feel like it's tech so much. It's just part of the broadcast.
Right. And more recently, we've had things like the strike zone in Major League Baseball and the shot tracker, the trace, the arc trace in golf, both of which are also things that are very valuable. And I think if you took them away, people would miss them, although they wouldn't be screaming like they would if they couldn't see the first down line.
Right.
The NBA Court Vision is not there yet, but it has the potential. In addition to animations, which is in what they call the mascot mode, they have what's called a coach mode and a player mode. And the coach mode actually diagrams the play on the court as it happens.
That's crazy.
Somebody sets a pick, sets a screen, does a roll, goes to the basket, and just a few seconds after they do it, it shows exactly the direction that they went. It also shows, it identifies the player with the ball, which is actually pretty cool if you know
That is nice.
You're a casual fan or you're
Right.
not familiar with the visiting team. And it shows, this was for me the closest thing to a killer app inside this. It shows the stats over their heads. So just as an example, if one of the players hit a three, it would show their point total over their head as they're running back down the court for a few seconds. If somebody got a steal or basically assist, a rebound, anything that you might do that would be a kind of a fundamental stat, it'll update it over their head as they go. And this is all AI, not human intervention.
Oh, wow.
So they're using 6 cameras that are installed in every NBA arena.
Are they already installed in all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
So this technology is only available from the Clippers right now, but they are hoping, this company, Second Spectrum, to roll it out more broadly to other NBA teams. And in fact, Second Spectrum uses those cameras already. And these are merely cameras to spot the action. And then the actual cameras that are augmented, the views, that's from the broadcast. But they are already using those 6 cameras overhead in the NBA arenas to provide stats to the teams. So now they're basically hoping eventually that the league will take this on for consumers. Really fascinating. And
where can people watch this? Is this just can anybody tune into a Clippers game and watch this?
Not right now. Right now, it's available to viewers of the Fox Sports app in the Los Angeles area, and there's a private beta where about 1,500 people are able to get in on it. But I can tell you, the thing that was most remarkable to me was it works, and it's live with a 2-minute delay. And it basically was pretty seamless in my experience, but not yet on the level of being indispensable like something like the first down marker.
That sounds really cool. That reminds me of the home court app that we saw from Apple, where but you actually have to use a phone, but you can point your phone camera at a basketball court, and as people are playing basketball, it's tallying everything that they've done and saving it. And in real time, just shows you on the screen how they're doing, which is super cool. Like, this is the future. Now, until they get that processing time down, and 2 minutes is not all that long, but nowadays, sports is such a social event that people are on social media. You don't want it to be like 12 seconds to the buzzer beater, and then like everybody on Twitter is like, hey, and you're like, I'm still 2 minutes away. What do you mean?
Exactly. Yeah, that is the biggest issue, is that time delay. And so that's a challenge. And I will say that it was even more pronounced sitting in the arena in Staples Center, because I was doing it on my phone in Staples Center, which is not the normal use case. Usually it would be people at home, but and so there the gap would be less because there's the natural time delay between the actual action on court and the normal broadcast. So anyway, pretty cool and fun to do it. By the way, just full disclosure there, we are doing a project with Steve Ballmer, a podcast project that's going to be coming out soon with his nonprofit USA Facts.
Is it interesting?
Yes.
I mean, it's Steve Ballmer.
It's Steve Ballmer. I've talked with, this weekend, I talked with Ann Coulter. I had a moment with Michael Avenatti. I talked with Josh and Toby from the West Wing.
Wow.
Okay. So we've got lots of people talking about numbers and politics and sports and business and tech. So that'll be coming up. You can get a little preview, by the way, at geekwire.com/numbersgeek.
There it is.
All right. That's it for Geared Up.
Yes, it is.
Anything else you want to add?
No. Looking forward to the new iPads and new Macs. The Mac Mini has not been updated in 4 years. Let's see what they do.
Awesome. Until next time, I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
And you can, let's do the boilerplate here.
Claire's yelling at us. We got to read this.
Hey, thank you for listening to Geared Up. If you're not already, you should subscribe to Andrew's YouTube channel to see our live behind-the-scenes videos. You can do that at youtube.com/gearlive.
And, of course, you can subscribe to Geared Up in your favorite podcast app. Just search for Geared Up, 2 words, not one, in Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
And if you like what we do, consider leaving us a rating and a review. It really does help other people find the show. Geared Up is a GeekWire podcast. You can see more from us at geekwire.com. Claire McGrane produces the show. Until next time, I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. All right.
All right.
Okay.
What's going on in the chat?
All right, I'm going to let you do that because I got my 1 p.m. here.
Okay.
Is it
Are there questions?
bad form to walk off the set with the live stream still going?
No,
I think they'll
there's not
forgive
even
me.
any, it's just
Okay.
comments.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. See you next time.